This podcast is brought to you in part by P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, everybody, and welcome to the DeREZD podcast. This is episode number 12. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me this week, we have a special guest host. Will is indisposed today. His room where he records the show is actually being populated by someone that is not him, making it very difficult for him to get on and do the podcast. So with me this week, we have special guest. He's been on the show before. He's a fan favorite, returning for yet another visit on the show. I'm building this up too much, Joe. Joe Fourhman.
Thank you.
Joe.
Hey.
Welcome back to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on a Friday night.
I'm happy to be here. Is Will the guy who ordered like the box of crickets off Amazon.com and then opened them up and they were not in another box, so the crickets got all over his room, and so that's what's going on right now, that he's just like cricket infested?
I hope that's going on for him, but for he has people visiting him that are staying in the room, but I hope that there's another
Crickets.
problem. Would be crickets.
He's got about 1,000 crickets visiting him in the room,
which is odd that you would say crickets, because I just watched a video about a girl that did a TEDx in Manhattan talking about crickets, how she grinds up crickets and makes food out of them, and I was really really grossed out. And now you say crickets, so I'm all kind of got the heebie-jeebies going on right now.
Good.
So
well, good. I've done what I needed to do. See you guys later.
All right, well, Joe, thanks again for joining me. If people haven't heard the name Joe Fourhman before, why don't you say a little bit about where people can find you, maybe your life story in 30 minutes or less.
Yeah, at least 30 minutes. I do a podcast called You Like the Worst Stuff with Joe Haygood and Tony Sadowski. We're over at ggsgamer.com. That's where our podcast lives. And it's very similar to the kind of shows you do, where we just sort of yak about video games and other things that strike our terrible fancies. But always happy to jump in and hang out with you, man.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. I'm glad to have you here. And thanks for the shout out on, I think it was the last episode. I was all happy. Tony said he was listening to DeREZD, and we started talking about Bungie music. And then he said, well, that's just stupid. Right. And I'm like, I was built up and then just knocked right down.
Yep.
I was like,
Took an opportunity to take a shot at you. That's what we do on co-podcasts.
All right, I should expect it.
Shots at each other.
Should expect it. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks for joining me yet again, Joe. Mm-hmm. Nice to have you back on the show. I know you're such a big fan, so I wanted to show these off on camera. I got my last 3 Simpsons Lego in the mail today. So here we are. We have Abe Simpson, we have Chief Wiggum, and we have Apu with his little squishy cup. I completed my set, even though they do look horrible. I agree with you there. Their heads are not Lego heads. They're just Simpson heads stuck on a Lego.
That did not occur to me until I saw that Lego Simpsons episode, which, I mean, I didn't actually see it. I saw the advanced promotional stills from it.
Right.
And just like, once I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, right. Those should kind of just be regular Lego heads with hats and stuff.
Totally. You know? They did it really smart on the TV show. And then these ones, they're just these big, like you pull off their heads.
Yep. Just one big molded thing. I mean, they're classic. A great likeness.
Yeah.
They look great. They're just, the heads are just not particularly Lego. I mean,
the itchy and scratchy ones are kind of neat because they're all soft and squishy, and it's just like, oh, okay, I guess that's kind of odd. But yeah, they're really weird.
That's the two I wanted to get, and I was using the little bump code thing to identify them, you know?
Okay, yeah.
And I thought for sure I had found a scratchy, like the bump code I thought matched, and I'm feeling around, and I thought I felt his little pointy ears, and then we get it home and it's Krusty the Clown.
Oh, no. I bought 13 blind packs myself, and I got 0 duplicates. I don't know. It's like
you got lucky.
Yeah, I've the Lego Movie ones. I bought 2 blind packs, and they were both the Taco Tuesday guy, and it's just like really that guy.
Yeah, well, from what I read, I mean, the blind packs, it's not like one box is one of each figure. There's like 5 marges.
That's right.
So you got pretty lucky.
Yeah, it's like I think there's rare ones where there's 2 of each of those figures in the box. There's uncommons, which there's 4 of each, and then commons, which is like 6 or 8 of each or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it happened, and it was at like 3 or 4 different locations. I was just randomly picking up a couple packs here and there. And I got everyone.
You used up all your good luck for the year. Dude.
I know. I'm not buying anything else ever again because it'll just be terrible. I'll get like there'll be a Krusty in there for some reason. It's like I bought.
You'll be lucky to make your morning commute. I mean, you used up all your.
Yeah, so I was smart and I just bought the last 3 off of eBay and paid crazy shipping prices to get them. But it's better than buying random packs that would be duplicates that I can never get rid of.
Right.
So yeah,
that's how I finished my Disney Infinity Power Discs collection.
Nice.
By just buying the last 2 off eBay.
That is a very smart thing to do. Did you buy any Series 3? Is that what you're talking about? Series 3 ones?
Yeah, I have all of them. I have all Series 3.
I haven't even bought any Series 3. I'm kind of done with the whole blind pack thing. And then Lego minifigs came out, and I'm like, damn it! I just said I was done with blind packs. Well, I guess I'll go do some more blind packs.
It was so nice that Series 2 of the Disney Infinity Discs, you could just buy at Target and get all of them.
Yeah, that was the best thing ever.
That was so great. And then Series 3, regular back to blind packs. And then I think just last week, the final Toys R Us exclusive one was released.
Oh, yeah, I haven't even gone to get that one out because I have...
the Merlin something or other.
Yeah, because I have a space for that in one of my books. So I got to go buy that just to get to fill the book.
Gotta go.
It's gotta happen.
We're sad.
Collecting is terrible, and I'm terrible when it comes to that type of stuff.
Nintendo is thinking of us when they making those NFC figures.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. It's crazy. We talked a lot about that on Nintendo Pulse last night. So if you guys want to hear more about mine and Stephen Munn's thoughts on the crazy renamed NFC figures, which are even more confusing, listen to the Nintendo Pulse. That'll be up just before this one. But what do you say we get into the show, man?
Sure.
All right. Well, we love hearing from you guys, our listeners. You guys are awesome. You support us, which makes us happy. And we're giving you many different ways to do that. But we have something new, which we just added to the site. So if you go to vgpodcast.com, right on the right-hand side of the page, there's this little gray button that's turned sideways that says send voicemail. And if you do that, you click it. You can actually just click start recording and record a voicemail right on the site and send it in to us, which is great. But if you have an iPhone or Android device, it'll pop up with a link to the app. If you click that and you have it installed, it'll take you right to the voicemail recording option, and you can leave us a voicemail that way. So people complain that they don't want to call long distance to leave a voicemail, which is fine. I understand that fully. So we gave you another option to do that. So please use it. It's powered by SpeakPipe. So it's free to use and free for us. And it will be hopefully utilized by a lot of you guys out there. Of course, you can do the old-fashioned way. Email us, vgpodcast@gmail.com, or call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-Podcasts. I'm at DazMe on Twitter. Joe, you're at Fourhman on Twitter with an H. Four H man.
Fourhman.
So follow him on Twitter as well if you want to hear more.
Follow me and stand to be berated by your terrible opinions about Nintendo.
Exactly. It's if you don't laugh once a day reading Joe Fourhman tweets, you're doing it wrong. You Joe, not them. You're doing it wrong, Joe.
I laugh a lot when I see typos.
Awesome. Well, let's move on. Let's get into the start of the news. And even though it's ridiculous because it's named End of Line, we like to do it first. So here it is.
End of Line.
The biggest news story of the week that we're going to dissect and talk about. We talked a lot about this on Nintendo Pulse yesterday, but even more came out on it today. And that is Nintendo and their terrible reaction to people complaining about the inability for someone to have a same-sex relationship in the game Tomodachi Life. So Tomodachi Life came out. People asked, can I marry another guy, or can I marry another girl if I'm a girl? And Nintendo came out and said no. Essentially, paraphrasing, they're like, same-sex marriages do not exist in this fun, happy, playful land that we've created, which then set people off even more. And then Nintendo came back.
Yeah, it got worse. It really did when they started talking about it. It made it worse. Like, they could have handled it so much better. They bungled the PR thing. They wanted to come out and point out, because there was a lot of talk going about how it was a bug, and Nintendo was fixing the bug so it wouldn't happen. And that really wasn't the case. There wasn't, a bug that made it happen that Nintendo was removing. That was a separate, like, save file transfer or something.
Right.
So then the statement that they issued about that, and then there were some interviews. Bill Trinen made the rounds, and it kind of just made it worse. Like, really, really just accelerated it. Just poured gas on it, completely unintentionally.
Totally. You had some grassroots campaigns took off. There was the Me Quality, MII Quality came up. There was a video posted. That hashtag was trending on Twitter. So it got worse. And then Nintendo came out and with an even more verbose explanation that was still as just stupid as the first one. And that's what we were talking about a lot yesterday. And then today, just like a couple hours ago, they came out with their final statement. Or
I've made it my phone's screensaver.
That is awesome
because it's succinct. It's to the point. It's what they should have said in the first place.
Exactly. That is exactly correct. There's a separate Canadian PR agency, and they even sent me a copy of that statement. So this is like Nintendo going, "Oh crap, we need to fix this. We need to get ahead of this now." At like 5 days after they should have done it in the first place. And I'll show it on the screen. This is the statement that they issued today, which is great. We apologize for disappointing many people by failing to include same-sex relationships in Tomodachi Life, Nintendo wrote. Unfortunately, it is not possible for us to change this game's design, as such a significant development change can't be accomplished with a post-patch ship. Post-ship patch, sorry. And there was a little bit more in the statement, but they essentially came right out and basically said, we screwed up. It wasn't in the original game. We didn't realize that this would be something that that people wanted. It was a Japanese game that's been localized. We can't change that. We can't patch it. So we're sorry, but we're gonna strive to do better in the future. We're gonna use this as a learning a thing to learn on from a company-wide standpoint. Perfect. That's exactly what they should have said initially. They should have apologized, realized that they screwed up, and said, okay, we'll do it better in the future.
And I think a lot of it, like, I don't even know how much of a "we screwed up" thing I'd expect them to say, because like Nintendo of America, had nothing to do with this game.
Exactly. That's the funny thing.
So they're kind of like thrown under the bus and have to be the fall guys for this thing.
Totally.
I'm sure this was developed back in Japan, and my feeling is, my gut tells me that like they made this thing in the bubble that they usually make their Nintendo games in, and Japan being a very homogenous culture, you don't stand out. You're part of the crowd. You all do the same thing. I just wonder if like it never even occurred to them that people would want to see same-sex relationships represented in this goofy little game. Which, remember, it's not even a dating sim.
No.
It's not. It's this goofy little game where you watch your Miis get into little comedy skits.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's not like it's a hardcore dating thing. We're not talking about like Harvest Moon, where you are actually picking another character to date and marry and have children with. I mean, it just makes a funny little video where your knees get married and then there's a kid. I mean,
exactly.
So I'm sure this never really even occurred to Nintendo of Japan.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I bet the delay between the last 5 days was probably a lot of like Nintendo of America.
Oh, did we lose you?
On the phone, like, you guys, we need to come up with a statement on this.
Yeah, totally. I'm sure.
Oh, did you lose me?
No, I think you're back now, but you're delayed. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, good.
Okay,
I'm with you now.
Yeah, like it has to be something like that where they just went and said, guys, like, why did you not do this? Is there a good reason? Is there a bug? Is there something that happened? And they probably just said, no, we just never thought of it. And then you could see Reggie kind of face palming. Oh crap. Okay, what are we gonna do now?
We just didn't think you'd want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And the only reason why this came up initially was because there was talk about Nintendo pulling same-sex relationships out of the game because there was a patch because of some data corruption or whatever. People were dressing up their Miis in opposite-sex clothing, and it would get there'd be a relationship because of some other bug in the game, and then it would potentially like damage the game or damage the save game. So they patched that out, not to get rid of the same-sex relationships, just to get rid of the bug. And then that was worse, and then the reaction after the fact was just way worse. And you'd think in this day and age, I mean, this would be kind of something that you wouldn't even have to talk about anymore, that it would just be a common thing that you would do.
Well, again, like, same-sex marriage is not legal in Japan.
Yeah,
there's acceptance of it, but I mean, we're obviously running this battle in the U.S. too.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I get that.
So my guess is they just sat there and said, we're making this cute little cartoon game, and it just never even occurred to them. And now hopefully it will occur to them.
Exactly. I mean, I guess it's different. I come from Canada, which is way more open about a lot of different things. So I mean, this is just kind of like that should happen. Whatever. It doesn't happen. You're
Right.
like, wow, that's really weird. Why would you do that to people? But yeah, I could see there's a lot of way more conservative states. There's a lot of countries where, like Russia, for example, where this game probably couldn't even be sold in Russia if it contained it. Like there's lots of weird things, I'm sure. But just such a weird thing. But we want to talk about a little bit on the show just to, I guess, applaud Nintendo for finally doing the right thing and addressing it directly, not skirting around the issue, not coming up with lame excuses, not saying that we designed it this way because blah, 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 blah. Just coming out and saying, yep, sorry, we know we screwed up. We have no good explanation for it. We will try to do better. And my guess is it'll start showing up for outlets to start reviewing it in North America within a couple weeks. So then we'll know more here about what you actually can do with it. But yeah, it's, I don't know, kind of weird. But I don't know, social media has kind of changed the way of complaining.
Right.
You can come up with a complaint, and if there's a lot of people that share your complaint, you can make it really painful for a company. And that's kind of what happened this past week with multiple Nintendo topics trending on Twitter for all the bad reasons. I guess Nintendo was finally happy that they were trending, but then they realized that it was not for good reasons.
Right.
And did that. So Nintendo will apologize. We'll link to the story that shows all of the stuff if you want to read it directly if you're not familiar with the story. But yeah, it's just kind of weird in this day and age that this is such a huge issue. Not that the issue is huge is the weird thing. The fact that it's not there. But again, I'm Canadian, so blame me for that, I guess. All right, well, let's move on. We have some Kickstarter stuff to talk about. The first is a Kickstarter that is near and dear to my heart. One of my favorite games from PlayStation 2 generation, and that is this game right here, Amplitude. Love it. And it's close relative Frequency as well, but it's a Kickstarter just for Amplitude. I found out about Amplitude. Actually, I found out about Frequency when I bought my PS2. There was a free demo disc that came with it. I basically bought my PS2 because I got in some beta. I can't even remember what it was. There was some beta. I'm trying to think what it is, but I can't even think about that. And I was like, okay, they sent me the disc. They sent me the beta disc. Fine, I'll finally go out and get a PlayStation 2. So I went out and bought one. Played the beta for about 3 minutes. I think it was SOCOM, actually. I think that was the beta I got on.
There you go.
Played it for about 3 minutes, died so many times, and just said, okay, well, screw this. And then I started playing some other stuff, borrowed some games from friends. But then I finally cracked open the demo disc that came with it. And I found this little gem called Frequency on the demo disc. And I'm like, holy crap, this is a rhythm action game. It's like Parappa the Rappa, but it's way better because you're building the music. You're not just playing to the music. you're making the music. I immediately got obsessed with it, played it a bunch of times, and then drove all over the city, because at that time you couldn't just go on our website and say, does any store within 5 kilometers of me have this game? You actually had to go call around or drive around. So I think Kara is my wife now, but at the time she was, or no, I guess she was my wife at the time as well, because it wasn't that long ago. We drove around to every store. We went to all the EB Games. We went to all the future shops. We went everywhere. Finally found a copy. Last copy, it was like super expensive. It was more than what, like, normal games were, say, $49.99. This game was like $57.99. It was some weird price as well. And I was like, I don't care. I'm buying it. Took it home. Played the hell out of it, and then just the next month, Amplitude came out. So we had Frequency for about a month prior to Amplitude coming out, and I was like,
this is before we had like release dates and websites telling us. I mean, you would have known that a sequel was coming out.
Totally, but it was so weird. And I saw, I think it was on IGN or whatever, they're like, oh yeah, the sequel to Frequency is out, it's Amplitude, and it's awesome. And I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. So went out and picked up Amplitude and played even more of Amplitude. I mean Amplitude and Frequencies were I found a lot of the music that I hadn't heard of. I was listening to a lot of electronica at the time, but there was some groups that I just wouldn't listen to because the DJs around weren't playing it. Started playing it, and boom, picked up this game and loved it even more. So that's kind of my story of this franchise. Right. Earlier this week, I guess it was Monday, I think, or Tuesday. No, I guess it was Monday because I wasn't at work on Tuesday. I noticed on my way into work, I just flipped open TweetDeck and I noticed my buddy Mitch was posting about it. I was like, oh, Amplitude being kickstarted. I'm like, what? And I saw that it was being kickstarted, and it had raised $192. And I'm like, wow, that's really weird. I got to look into this. It said there was 28 days left, and it raised $192. And I'm like, oh, that is really weird. Is this like Amplitude? But then I had some meetings and stuff, so I didn't get to it till I went on coffee break. So I went, grabbed the coffee, came back to my desk, opened up the Kickstarter, and it had already raised like $50,000 in like the first couple hours. It was ridiculous. And sure enough, Harmonix is kickstartering a direct sequel to Amplitude that they are also calling Amplitude. So, which is even more kind of confusing. But they did a weird 3-week Kickstarter, not like the 5-week or 4-week that is the norm. And they've already raised almost $200,000 of their goal, which is $775,000.
Yeah, it's aggressive. It's an aggressive goal.
Yeah, I have my doubts that it's going to happen.
I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah, me too. And then I read a little bit more about how this all came to be, because it's like, well, you're a studio that's been around for a while. You obviously have money. You have relationships with publishers. Like, just make the game and get them to publish it. Like, just do it. But then you realize that Sony actually owns the IP to Frequency and Amplitude, and and they don't want to make a game because they don't trust that it's going to make money. So you had Harmonix basically called them up and said, hey, we kind of want to make one of these, a sequel to this game. Would you like that? And they're like, yeah, I mean, if you can find enough people to buy it. And they talked about a Kickstarter, and then like just a little while later, the Kickstarter was up on Kickstarter, where they're trying to raise $750,000 to create the next version of Amplitude. So I don't know, Joe. I talked a little bit about the game and why I love it so much, but I don't know. Right. Are you a big fan as well?
I backed it. I'm in. I of course, because I heard it, was there right away. I didn't go on a coffee break like you did.
I'm sorry.
And so
the Tim Hortons was calling, man.
I got in on the early bird $15 level, which makes me one of the cheaper backers. Nice. That gets the game. And then those already, like, within a day, they blew through all 1,000 of those.
Mm-hmm. They were gone by the time I got back. They were already gone.
I am sympathetic to the concerns about, is this what Kickstarter is for, and should big companies be doing this, and big name brands be using the Kickstarter? But, as long as it doesn't get in the way of, like, regular small businesses, folks just trying to start out, have an idea they want to create. I mean, it's kind of like when eBay started, and when eBay started, it was just like this big stupid yard sale, and there was nothing, just anything goes. And then eventually the brands realized, well, wait a minute, we could have a storefront. I mean, we could sell junk on eBay too, and then they did. And so now you got all these brand names that have eBay stuff. And it's like I just, you can't really stop that. That's gonna grow, and like I said, as long as it doesn't get in the way of the small folks, I don't really have a problem. I mean, as the names get bigger. Mm-hmm. It starts getting weirder because, like, say, in the Veronica Mars one, I mean, everybody pitched in for Veronica Mars, and now Warner Brothers gets to pull profit off that in perpetuity. You know, like, they still owned it. They didn't have to put in any risk on it. Warner Brothers didn't. They just waited for the folks to make it, and now they get to distribute it, and they get to reissue it on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever they want to do as many times as they want. And you know, okay, it gets a little weird, but you know, I just don't think that Amplitude was not going to happen. No, in any other way.
I mean, Rock Band and Garage Band aren't going to happen for any time in the near future. So this more quirky
I'm worried about Rock Band.
Indie-ish title obviously isn't going to make it. I kind of share some of your concerns as well. I mean, is this really what Kickstarter's for? Blah blah blah. You get those kind of arguments that come out, and to me, it's like I've backed a whole crap load of things on Kickstarter because it's a product that I want, and it's like I'm going to buy it anyway. When it comes out, but if I don't buy it now, it's probably not going to come out. So I've done a bunch of games that way. I haven't done much from like big name companies. It's been more kind of independent stuff that you really want, like Shovel Knight and Camouflage and Republique from Camouflage and other things like that. It's like this is new, this is awesome. I really want to play this thing. Yeah.
I've backed a couple of smaller things too. I think this might be the biggest name thing that I've backed because like we're saying, it's we're giving them the money, and yes, they're going to assume some risk, but they don't really have to. Like, if you were an investor in something, if you were an investor in the Veronica Mars movie, you'd like have a say. You'd be expecting profits off the back end, and you don't in this, and it's. But like I said, Amplitude wouldn't happen any other way, and you really can't stop these guys from going in there and doing it. And if it gets stuff done, you just have to know what you're getting into and understand that you're really not promised much of anything except what was in your tier, and then sometimes even that doesn't happen. And with some of the stuff that I've backed, I'm like, I thought this is a cool idea. If they take my money and nothing else happens with it, then that's on me. And I hope that they at least learn something and go make something somewhere else. I mean, I kind of see a lot of it as just a donation for a company that I like too. Just here, have some money.
Yeah, here, take my money. Take my money. I kind of think of it the exact same way as
keep doing good things, and I hope I get what you promised.
Exactly. Like, I think the one that I backed that I didn't think would work at all, I backed a Zombicide, which was it was a board game with a bunch of miniatures, and it came with like 100 little miniatures and a bunch of other ones, and I was just like, there's no way this is going to come out. It's going to be crap. And I got it. I paid $100 for it or whatever it was for these crazy board games with all these pieces, and it came. And then 3 months later, a bunch of other figures came because I backed the extra figures, and then 4 months later, some other figures came, and I'm just like, how is this profitable for you? But thanks, I'm glad you did well with this product, and you're making sequels and all these other things. But yeah, I mean, Amplitude feels kind of weird for me because it's not an independent company. It's not a little indie studio. It's Harmonix, Garage Band, Rock Band, or Garage Band. I keep saying Garage Band. Guitar Hero and Rock Band.
Dance Central. I mean, they're not a small company. Fantasia. And even more crazy in this whole thing is that it's IP owned by Sony. The company that makes millions of dollars. I think that really probably ticks people off more when then Sony goes to the PlayStation blog and says, hey, everybody, why don't you go to this Kickstarter? Here's a game that you're really going to like. We're not paying for it. You are. They did that with Sports Friends, like a year and a half ago, whenever that was announced. And everybody was like, well, if you want us to go, if you're so excited about Sports Friends, why don't you pay for Sports Friends?
Yeah, you're the indie company. You're the one that says, oh, yeah, rah, indies. What do you...
What?
What?
So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure it's great publicity for Sony to do that for Amplitude, but at the same time, like there's a lot of folks that I'm sure look at that and go, "Oh, what? Sony, you go pay for it. We'll buy it later."
Exactly. And that's, for me, that was kind of the, oh, this feels dirty. It's like, you're getting taken advantage of, but I don't know. I personally, like I said, when I went to back it, all the $15 early birds were gone, so I could only get in at the $20 tier. They just added a $70 tier, which gets you a bunch of extra stuff.
So that's good, because I kind of thought that their tiers were not very attractive at the upper levels. There wasn't enough. They were kind of expensive, considering what you've seen other similar Kickstarters do. And I think they're still kind of edging that way. Like if you want an extra bonus song, like right away you're at like $100.
Yeah, totally. Something. If you want to play the game,
wait a minute.
If you want to play the game at the same time that reviewers would get copies, you're paying double to get the game, like early game access, which is kind of neat, because most people don't get a chance to do that. Most people aren't Joe Fourhman that are playing pre-release games. But the $70 one was just like, yeah, you get that too, but you get an exclusive original print. It's like, oh, okay, well, sure. It didn't really strike me as something I want. But then today they just changed it, where they added digital soundtrack, digital art book, and then
soundtrack would be great. Like that's. So you got to get the $70 to get a soundtrack. That I'd consider.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a beat blaster and song added to the $100 level. So they're realizing that, okay, maybe this isn't exactly going the way that we wanted it. So let's change things a little bit. So they're doing that now. But I just don't understand why they would have shortened the term of the Kickstarter. Like when you're asking for $750,000. More than $750,000, you want it to be out there for as long as possible.
I wonder what the deal is with that. What's the reason behind the three? I know John Drake, one of the PR leads at Harmonix, is behind this game, and I've been, you see him on Twitter talking about it, and he's really working hard to try to answer people's questions and sort of understand everybody's feelings and worries and concerns about it, so they can make this be a success. So. Quacko says they want the money now. Well, I'll bet they want the money now. Just there's some pressure on there that you're worried that maybe they won't hit it that quickly. I mean, Shaq Fu Returns went on for 2 months.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You've been the guy that's been talking about Shaq Fu online.
I am so angry about it.
So
nobody wants this game.
Tell the folks what Shaq Fu is. And why
Shaq Fu is a joke.
Why I saw you quoted on another website talking about Shaq Fu. Yeah, you were quoted on Go Nintendo. They had a post with all your tweets leading up to it. I laughed about that.
Somebody needs to tell me these things. I did not know.
I assumed I would have sent you a link, but I just assumed you would have seen it. Yeah.
I mean, Shaq Fu was a joke of a game, and it was talked about as a joke for the next 15 years. I mean, Which one of the forums was it on a major gaming website that used the Shaq Fu logo as like an emoticon for people? Remember that?
Like
for garbage, for crap. Yeah, I don't remember which one of the big sites it was. Like they used the Shaq Fu logo. Is an awful dopey game.
Yeah.
And Shaquille O'Neal is a great guy. Like he's an absolute legend. And has he ever had a scandal around him?
No.
Has he ever given any reason for us not to think that he's like just a great guy?
No, the worst is dopey images from screen captures that people post. I mean, that's about the worst that he's ever done.
So I got no problem with Shaquille O'Neal personally, but I don't think anyone has had the cojones to tell him, Shaq, they're talking about your game because it's awful and it's a big dumb joke.
Yeah.
Because now they went on with this crowd raising or crowdfunding thing on Indiegogo to raise money for a sequel. And they showed some decent concept art and some decent stuff, and maybe it could be a decent game, but I just find the whole thing just super shady, because if you look at it, ended at 2 months, right?
Yep.
And they made it, and in no way were they ever tracking to make it. And if you look at how many backers they have, it's like 1,200 backers total. And most of the money for it, like 3/4 of the money, comes from all of the ridiculously expensive high tiers, like the 20 grand stuff was taken. Who took that? Who took and suspiciously that all happened in like the last week. Like the last week, all of a sudden, somebody paid 35 grand for Shaq to DJ their party. No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that all those big tiers all of a sudden got nailed in the last week so they could make their funding. I mean, come on.
It's pretty funny.
Nobody wants this.
In the comments on that article that linked your tweets on Go Nintendo, there's a bunch of people that are basically saying that, hey, this could have happened because Go Nintendo is a site filled with apologists. Either they're Nintendo apologists or other apologists. It's just the weirdest fan base. If something weird happens and everybody else in the world hates it, you go there and it's like, well, yeah, this totally makes sense. Nintendo should do this. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But when you look in the thing, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you're a super fan and you want to have a party and you want to have all these people, yeah, it makes sense. Like you and your friends could all get together and drop $4,000 each. What kind of friends do you hang with, buddy? Because I don't know anybody that could drop $4,000 to get a sports guy to come do something.
Either Shaq just took care of these last couple tiers himself and pitched in the money, or he called up some friends and said, "Look, just go ahead and claim that 35 grand DJ party, and we'll figure something out later because I really want to get this game made." And that's fine if he wants to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just find it shady as heck because you know what? If I'm like a Sony or a Microsoft and I'm looking for upcoming digital games that I have to slot in my calendar to release on my digital storefront, and I'm looking at how many people funded Shaq Fu Returns, why am I bothering? Because nobody wants this game. There's just not enough backers for me to justify even giving it a slot in my digital download release, you know?
Yeah, and the thing is, like, of all people, Shaq, who's like NBA contracts and all the money he got for product endorsements and everything. I mean, that's the last thing he needs is people to back his game. I mean, he could just do it because he's Shaq and he has all the money in the world. It's like I think in the end he probably did. In the end he probably did fund it himself. Although exactly. if you know you I don't really care how successful somebody is. Like if they want to try something like this, go ahead, open it up to the masses and see if people want it. Because like I said, I just don't think that anybody ever told him that people really didn't want this game. And like, so, yes, Shaq. Whatever you say, Shaq.
Masses, we'll just go ahead and do that. And, maybe 10,000 people would have backed it and it would have been great and everyone would have been real excited for it. But no, they got like almost as many backers successfully funded as Cult County had and was nowhere near funded. Yeah,
that was a sad one.
So
really sad. But yeah. I mean, Kickstarter is such a weird thing, and other crowdfunding websites, because he wasn't doing Kickstarter, he was doing
He was on Indiegogo,
which is even weirder because in Indiegogo, if you have a failed campaign, don't you still get some of the money? Isn't that
I don't know.
Isn't that how Indiegogo works? I think. Anyway, it's. At the end of the day, it's kind of ridiculous. But if nothing else, it is very good for us because we can talk about it and laugh about it on podcasts. It makes
I hope Shaq Fu Returns is great. I hope I have to eat my words. I hope it's a great guys. I hope every game is a great game. So I hope this is a great game. But I just nobody wants it, man. There's just not enough actual people that want it. I mean, it just isn't.
It's like there was an iPhone app that came out that was it was like an Indiegogo thing as well, and it was some celebrity made this game. I can't think of what it was, but yeah, it's just like, well, if people wanted this, there would have been a market for it. You wouldn't have to crowdfund it because you're already a semi-celebrity. But I can't remember which one that was. So it's happened before, and it's terrible.
The one Kickstarter that failed this week that really made me sad was the one for the space team that the space team guy put together, and I suspect that largely failed because there wasn't really a lot that people were getting because he straight up said, "Oh yeah, the new games that I'm making them anyway. So this is just to help make it easier for me. Right. And here's a couple cool reward tiers." So like. I wonder if like you start to learn like maybe don't say stuff like that when you do your Kickstarter. I think part of Cult County was hit by that too, because didn't Renegade Kids said, yeah, we're making this game anyway?
Yeah, we're going to look into options to have it published anyway.
Yeah. So like,
yeah,
if you're already saying that you're going to make the game anyway, like unless I really like you, which I really like Space Team, so I did back that one. If I really like you, I'm going to donate some money your way. Just as great, sure, you're a cool person. But if you say up front that you're already making it, that means you don't really need our help en masse. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know Kickstarter is such a weird thing. There's
Kazam joke in the chat room. Yes, that would be pretty great to have
Trey too fast.
Right. Yep. Get Steel into Justice League. You know what? Shaquille is probably a great age right now to play a older, wiser Steel in the Justice League movie. I would support that.
There you go. Get it. Start the Kickstarter, Joe. Let's get it done.
Oh yeah. I'll call Shaq.
Like there's been hits and misses. A lot of the stuff, like I've gotten some products which I Kickstarted, used it twice and said, oh, well, wasn't what I thought it would be. Like there was this iPad, there was an iPad case that had a little pocket for a wireless keyboard. And I was like, oh, that would be perfect. I don't have to buy a keyboard case. I can just put the keyboard in the thing. It's like, of course, every time you hit a key, it turns the keyboard on. So your batteries last about 5 minutes. So it wasn't the best idea. And then there's been games like I backed the 90s Arcade Racer on Kickstarter. And I backed it at the reward tier that got me to the ability to put a billboard in the game. So it was like 80 pounds or whatever. And
that's cool.
I get a billboard in the game. So when it ships, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It was supposed to ship December 2013. It's now mid 2014, and they say that it might not be out till the end of the year because it takes a long time to make a good game.
Sure.
I totally get that. But the cool thing that happened was they posted an update of the game running on the Wii U, and the car was actually parked in front of my billboard. So I had a lot of people in comments say, who the hell is VGpodcast.com and why are they in this stupid game? And then I've actually gotten some listeners that found it through that billboard, and so it's already worked, which is awesome. That's exactly why I did it. And I was like, oh, okay, so I don't mind too much that I don't get to play the game. I know I'll be able to get it eventually. And they say that it's going to be on the PlayStation and the Xbox One as well, the PS4 and the Xbox One.
That's cool. I like those kind of rewards. Like there's a lot of those where I've considered, all right, maybe I would pay like a lot just to have something funny like that where I'm in something, Totally. Like and going back to Amplitude, like I think almost every single backer of Amplitude is going to be in the credits, which is nuts.
Yeah.
They're going to have their credit roll is going to be longer than Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's already at 5,511, so
that's absurd.
So it's going to be probably in the 12,000 range. By the end that this is done, if it's going at the current clip.
It's going to be a lot of folks pressing X to skip that.
Exactly. And it's always great. Like the Indie Game The Movie credits. I was like, oh, I backed this. I'm going to have to watch the credits. And of course, it's like, pause it. There's my name. It's like, okay, well, I didn't read any of the other names, so no one else is going to read my name. So what's the big deal here? But
right. It's different if it's like a list of 10. When it's 5,500, forget it.
Exactly. So Kickstarter, it's weird, and and that's
a weird night,
and that's what we wanted to say about that.
What's next in weird?
What's next in weird? Do you remember the game Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Joe? Remember?
Yeah, I never played it.
Oh, really?
Never played a Tony Hawk game. You know what similar game I played was Aggressive Inline, which was rollerblading.
Wow.
And it was really good, so whatever.
Circa 2004.
It was a GameCube game.
Yeah, I remember
Aggressive Inline. Aggressive Inline. I liked it, and it was very much a Tony Hawk clone.
Well, the studio that is super well known because of Tony Hawk, Neversoft. It's just been reported earlier this week that, or I guess last week. No, this week, that Neversoft is closing. Activision basically is closing the studio, and they're merging Neversoft with Infinity Ward. So Neversoft worked on Call of Duty Ghosts, so now they are yet another gun shoot people in face game makers over at Neversoft,
Well,
which is kind of sad.
I don't follow the Call of Duties. Weren't they in a cycle there where like Infinity Ward made one, and then another developer made one, and they kind of alternated years? Was Neversoft the alternating one?
No, they weren't.
Who was the one they alternated with that everyone hated?
Infinity Ward and I can't think of the other one.
It was because the one that everybody hated was like, oh, well, this is going to be a bad year for Call of Duty because those guys made it. I don't remember the name, but okay, not so now. Neversoft's going to make that. Do they have any experience making that? It's Jay Carguth pointed out that they made the first Spider-Man games, which I remember playing those,
which was amazing
on PlayStation 1. They were pretty decent.
Now you have Sledgehammer. That's making Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, which is a horrible name,
right? That's new,
but this was like all around like the huge lawsuit and people leaving and the lawsuits. Treyarch, there you go.
That's it. That's the one. Everybody hated everyone. It's a Treyarch year, so this Call of Duty's gonna stink. Yeah.
And then you had the founders of Infinity Ward leave the company and get sued by Activision, and then they countersued, and they eventually made Titanfall. So I guess Infinity Ward was gutted a little bit, so they had Neversoft come in and work with them.
Okay.
And now they're a Call of Duty studio. So
absorbed.
Another kind of quirky, fun studio that made some really amazing things like Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk, Spider-Man, PS1.
That's right. They did the crappy Guitar Hero.
They're not going to be working on that stuff anymore, so it is kind of sad. I mean, that's the way business goes. It's just part of business.
At least they're employed.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the people that aren't, because I think they did let go of some people.
Except for those. At least some of them are employed still. The ones who were like, yeah, okay, we'll still make Call of Duty games, sure.
Yeah. But
I have a family. I would make Call of Duty games.
Can you imagine getting a job at a game studio to make music games? Next thing you know, you're making a terrible reboot of Tony Hawk. And then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's get back to music. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, wait, no, you're working on Call of Duty Ghosts. It's like, oh, okay. So I'm going to work on some gun shooty face games. Okay, guns. Look how beautiful the guns are.
You're in charge of designing all the little icons people put on their helmets and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, okay, finally, we're done. It's like, no, you're not. We're absorbing you. Your company is no more, and now you're going to be making shooty guns in the face of people games.
If they're dedicated to the craft, they accept the challenge.
Yeah, sure enough, I guess. I mean, I don't want to say that everybody would hate it, because maybe they love Call of Duty, so this is a dream come true for them. But
it might be.
To me, it seems kind of sad. I don't know, because I'm not a huge shooter fan, I guess.
As Kyle says in the chat room, we're never going to see that logo anymore. And obviously, when they merged these studios, they kept the Infinity Ward logo name and logo. It wasn't like Infinity Ward West : Neversoft. Nothing like Neversoft is now officially gone. And
Infinity Ward, the office next door with the eye and the stake through it logo company. No, it's not. So
they're sharing desks.
So if you're one for that, pour one out for your friends at Neversoft. They will skate no more. They will shred. They will know. They won't be rebooting Aggressive Inline anytime soon. Getting the IP through some weird poker game and rebooting Aggressive Inline. So Joe, you can be sad about that.
Inline. I gotta look that up.
There were so many wannabe like extreme games that came out around the same time. There was that surfing game. What was it?
Mark Echo's Getting Up.
There was that. There was BMX Triple X, of course, which was just horrible for all sorts of different reasons. There was some BMX trick games. There was, of course, all the X games, and it's just like that was such a weird time with all these extreme stuff. And yeah, Tony Hawk was kind of the best of the bunch if you're into those types of games. Like I played so much Tony Hawk 2, Tony Hawk on the Game Boy Advance. Like and it's a game that you never forget. Like I went over to a buddy's house and he had his PlayStation hooked up with Tony Hawk game, and you basically sit down and next thing you know you're like smacking all the buttons and you're doing these crazy tricks. It's like, holy crap, my muscle memory is so ingrained from playing this game for hours at end. Even 10 years, however long later, you just remember all the tricks just by like muscle memory. It's so bizarre.
Well, I wonder if I still have my aggressive inline muscle. I still have the game. I know that.
The 4 tricks you can do on inline skates. It was a very very detailed game.
How dare you? Oh, the aggressive inline was developed by Z-Axis, who also did BMX XXX.
There
Remember
you go.
That one?
Oh,
that was a good one.
That's the one I was just talking about. Yeah, that's horrible thing that you hope would never.
Dave Mirra freestyle.
That's the one I was trying to think of. Dave Mirra. Yeah, and they did so well at Dave Mirra, they decided to edge it up a little bit because you can have boobs on a bike.
Yeah,
it was what a terrible game that was. Oh boy. Fun stuff. All right. Let's move on. Activision had some calls. There was a quote of their CEO Bobby Kotick that basically said that they're making a $500 million bet on Destiny. So this quote was picked up. It was run on a bunch of different websites. Reuters did it. Pretty much every gaming website then just said Destiny's costing $500 million. Article headlines of, is Destiny the most expensive game ever made? Question mark. So we don't know the actual cost of it, but holy crap, for the CEO of a company to say we're gambling $500 million on it, that's probably pretty close to what this game has costed them.
It gives you an idea just how big the money is. I mean, we just talked about with the Kickstarters. I mean, there's a game, Amplitude is not a huge, massive CG-laden Hollywood blockbuster game, and look how much money they're asking. And I've seen some people say that that's not enough, that they probably need more, and they're probably just using that Kickstarter money to help back up what they've already devoted to it in-house.
Sure.
So, I mean, $500 million for Destiny, which is, a big major deal that I saw at E3 last year and don't even remember. It's not my thing.
It's crazy. I mean, Activision Blizzard signed a 10-year deal with Bungie to make games, and Destiny being the basically the title, and it's going to be a franchise, and they're saying things like it's MMO like, the progress is going to transfer from one game to another. Like, there was all these grand things that were said about it. Obviously none of that stuff has been said again, so who knows if it's actually happening. But for a company, I guess it is Activision Blizzard, and $500 million is probably nothing to a company that has 7.5 or 8 million paying subscribers that drop $15 a month to play your online game. So $500 million is probably not that big of a gamble. You probably have a lot of money in the bank, but still $500 million. I mean, what was it? What did GTA 5 do in its opening weekend? Was it 800 million or something like that?
Yeah, I forget. Or was it? It was amazing. I remember that. And I remember being shocked by how much it made in like a day. It made so much, but I don't remember the exact figure.
Yeah, exactly. So if the game does well, and it probably will. I mean, Bungie, they kind of know how to make a game, and the stuff that you've seen. Right. And there was recent hands-on events where people are playing the same kind of little slice, and they said it feels like you're playing a Halo game, but it's Halo with more, with special moves and stuff and items that level up and all this other weird stuff. It's pushing all the right buttons in my gamer brain, where I like loot fountains in Diablo, and I like getting the cool items in WoW. This looks like it's going to be a game that is going to do all that, and it has some crazy money invested behind it. So if it wasn't going well, they have the money to pay more people to fix it. So I guess that's a great thing. But man, when I see that big number with a dollar sign in front of it, I just realized that I can't even fathom how much money that actually is.
Nope. All the people that got to work on it, and all the money that's got to go into it, and the marketing and the development, and the voice acting, and it just goes on and on.
It's ridiculous. So, if nothing else, some other good news came from this. I think it was an earnings call, and they basically came out and said that the beta will be coming soon on the PlayStation 4. It'll be in July. So he referenced the PlayStation 4. So I don't know if that means that the beta is not coming on other consoles, or if it's going to be later. Or if maybe it'll go back the other, like all the videos you've seen of Destiny has been on the PlayStation 4, because you see all the you see the Sony button prompts on the screen for when they do different things. So I don't know if maybe there's some extra money being paid by Sony or something. Who knows? Anyway, I pre-ordered the game on Amazon just to get the pre-order beta. So now I have a beta key, so I will be playing the beta. I probably won't be buying it from Amazon though, so I might be canceling that order as soon as my beta gets activated. So, yeah, Destiny coming out, $500 million. My God, that's a lot of money.
A bit.
Definitely. All right, moving on. Let's get into some more money. A game that you wouldn't think would sell very well actually does. Dark Souls 2 just announced that they've shipped 1.2 million copies in the first 3 weeks of this game. This is the game that punches you in the gut, kicks you while you're down, laughs at you, and then encourages you to do the same thing over and over and over again.
This has become such a critical favorite that I think by this point, there's a lot of folks that are like, okay, I want to see what this is about, because everybody who plays it won't stop talking about it. So I think word of mouth has just exploded this one into a major player.
I almost bought it. I was looking at it.
Unless that's the ship number. Unless nobody actually bought it.
Yeah, it could be the
and
Microsoft.
It's just sitting on store shelves.
Exactly. It could be the Microsoft wave of announcing their numbers, the sell through, or the ship to retailers, not the sell through to consumers. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, every podcast I listen to, they're talking about how awesome it is, and it's like you're learning to play a musical instrument, and it's just like, what?
Yeah, it's not for me.
That makes no sense.
All the talk about it just proves to me that there's nothing nothing interesting, nothing for me. This is not my scene.
Yeah, I had an epiphany last year where I realized I was playing games not to have fun anymore, but to be the guy that beat the game on hard. So you immediately pick up a game and
you're playing Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I'm playing Amazing Spider-Man for totally different reasons, totally different stupid reasons. But I was the guy that would get a game and put it on the hardest difficulty because I didn't want anybody on my friends list to say, "Oh, you beat it on easy. What are you, pansy?" Like that type of thing, right? And then I sat there and I'm just like, wow, this is stupid. Not only is the thought that this could happen stupid, but the fact that I'm not having fun, that I'm paying $60 for a thing that I'm not having fun with, is ridiculous. So a lot of the games I'd play on easy, I'd play on normal, whatever. I wasn't the guy that immediately went to the hardest difficulty. This game, I don't want to play a game that would force me to not have fun for a huge time of the game that I'm playing. Like a huge portion of the game, I'd be ripping out my hair to get little nugget of awesome.
Right. From what I gather, it's a major paradigm shift where dying is part of how you play the game, and you can't think of it as I only got to step 5 and then died, so I got to start over again at step 1. You got to think of it as like, okay, I got to step 5, now I'm picking up at step 5 and I'm doing this again, but maybe in the same area. You know what I mean? You really got to change the way you think about it, and I think that's what appeals to the folks that like it. But I saw somebody on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was. They said they booted it up, like walked to a stream and died. Like, all right, this does not sound like an appealing game to me at all. But I'm glad you guys like it.
Well, everybody talks about basically starting the game, going down this corridor, turning right, and getting destroyed. And everybody's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're supposed to turn left." It's like, well, nothing told me to turn left. It's like, "Oh no, but you got to turn left."
You learn. That's what you learn.
It reminds me of like Oblivion, the first time where I'm exploring the countryside and I take a turn and go into a forest, and next thing you know, there's these big bears. I was like, oh, well, I just killed a spider. I could probably kill a bear. No, bear mauled me to death. It's like, oh, okay, I have to not go in certain areas. But this is like times infinity. Like, it's just so much more punishing. Dark Souls 2, to be fair, it did add some other things to it. It has an item now that you eventually get where you can actually go into other people's games, and if you die in other people's games, you lose nothing. But if you do well in those games, you get all the experience and stuff. So they've made it so that you don't have to hate yourself totally when you play the game. Still, I don't think it's something that I will ever get into. But my God, 1.2 million for such a hardcore niche title. I fully did not think that it would sell that much. So that's
super
great.
Cool.
And it's good for Bandai Namco.
Those are Titanfall numbers.
Yeah, totally. So it's great. So Bandai Namco, some of the other numbers in this article that make me laugh is God Eater 2 was a strong hit with 700,000 units shipped. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z shifted 620,000 units, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle hit 500,000 units. That was their biggest hits up until Dark Souls 2 shipped 1.2 million. So they don't have a lot of quality titles there in Bandai Namco's coffers. So
well, once you get into like licensed anime stuff, it's those folks love that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's a targeted audience right there.
It's as bad as Dynasty Warrior.
That's a tough one for me. It really is.
Yeah. Cool.
I can play one of those a decade, I think.
If you played one, you've played them all, so that's okay.
I played 2 and liked it, and then I didn't play another one until like 7.
And you didn't miss it. It's like a sports game.
yeah.
There's a couple things that have been added to it, but it's pretty much the same thing. Awesome. Well, let's move on. A couple more stories to cover before we get into what we've been playing. This one is really sad, but also not at the same time because it makes my wallet happy, and that is ZeniMax announced that Elder Scrolls Online, which was supposed to ship in June for consoles, it came out on PCs last month, I want to say, early April, I think it was. It was in beta before that, but I think the box copy was finally available. It was supposed to ship on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in June, which made me really happy because although I loathe the idea of paying $15 a month to play a game, I love Elder Scrolls so much that I probably would have done it for a couple months just to get into it and explore it. Well, now I won't, so that is a good thing. They announced this week that they are delaying the console release 6 months. So not a month, not 2 months, 6 months because they want to get it right. Which is funny because the week prior they were just answering questions about no, it's still coming. We're working hard at getting this out for its June release date. And then,
I wonder what's wrong at that point. Like what do they got to fix if it's a 6 month delay? But
yeah, it makes you wonder. There's a lot of things that people were kind of bitching about on the.
Do people?
The
yeah, I was gonna say, do people like the PC version? Do people like this game?
Everybody that plays it, I've heard talk about it, says it's really good because they were already Elder Scrolls fans before they bought it.
Right.
So,
see, I saw this at E3 demoed right alongside Dishonored.
Right.
And they led with Elder Scrolls Online, which was just dead boring.
Yeah.
And then debuted Dishonored for the first time, and that was like, oh my god, this Dishonored looked like so amazing compared to Elder Scrolls Online, which was like just some dude walking around with a horse or something.
Yeah, exactly.
This like the last 3 games we talked about, this is also not my thing.
Yeah, I love the franchise. I love the franchise, and I did the MMO thing for many years. I had 3 accounts in Ultima Online. I played Dark Age of Camelot. I played all the ones that came after that. I was big into WoW for a long time, and then realized that I had kids and that I no longer had time for MMOs and other stuff, so I had to stop playing MMOs. But this, I mean, it's a world I want to live in and explore. It made me super happy, but yeah, I'm not going to play it on the PC, and so I will not be playing this probably ever. Actually, the good thing is by the time I play it, it will probably be free to play. Because 6 months, it probably won't have a subscription because I can't see MMOs these days have that kind of thing. Nobody wants to pay $15 a month to play a game anymore. That is not WoW.
Yeah, there's a couple that have kind of trucked along, and then there's a bunch that have gone free to play and have done well once they've gone free to play on on the consoles.
Yeah,
so
there's the DC Universe Online.
yeah, that's what I'm mainly thinking of. That and that's still trucking. They're still doing stuff for that, and that's been several years going on. Which there's no way, as much as I like DC Comics stuff, there's no way I would have predicted that DC Universe Online would still be a thing.
No.
What,
exactly.
4 years later now? I mean, geez.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, MMOs. I totally understand why people play them. I played them forever, but there's so many awesome games coming out these days where it's just like, wow, you're totally pigeonholing yourself into one experience when there's so many other experiences to have. But then people say that about everything. People only watch one type of movie, listen to one type of music, one type of television, whatever, blah blah blah. For me, it's the paying $15 a month to play a game. I can't get behind that. Not with the number of awesome games I want to pay $60 for. Just,
there you go.
It's kind of crazy. So yeah, Elder Scrolls Online will not be coming out till the end of the year. It'll probably be delayed again because there's obviously some serious problems with it if they have to delay it 6 months. So it's kind of sad.
If that's going to launch around the holidays, that's going to be a tough one.
Oh, totally.
Because it's going to be right in the sea of everything else that happens. So
maybe they're waiting for Project Morpheus. Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a VR MMO.
Maybe I would pay $15 a month for that. I'm telling you right now.
There you go.
ZeniMax, get on it. Get that done. All right, moving on. Here's a game announcement today, or this week rather, that you don't have to pay for. And Epic Games basically announced that they're coming out with Unreal Tournament, which is a game that has come out many times. But they're making a new Unreal Tournament game. And people said, oh, okay, well, I'd buy that. Yeah, sure. I love running around shooting people with rockets. It's great. But they're doing something really bizarre, and they're also doing something really awesome. The game is free, so it's not free to play where you can only play certain character types and then have to buy others. It's a totally free game where you get the whole game for free. And they're going to be developing.
What's the catch?
Exactly. Well, there really isn't one. At the end of the day, it's really kind of bizarre. They're going to be developing it in collaboration with its fans. So good mods, good ideas will be basically pushed into this game, which is awesome. And the way that they're going to make money is they're going to allow fans to sell items, sell things that you've made, and Epic's going to take a cut of that. So you can make this really awesome looking chess piece.
What are you making?
Yeah, like armor, gun, skins, things like that, I'm sure. And you can make something that looks really awesome, and someone wants to buy it. They'll give you $1 for it, and Epic is going to take a cut. They'll probably take like 30%. That seems to be what people do these days. And that is what they're doing to monetize this game. So it is completely free, though. It's like
what's it coming out for?
They're saying it's coming out on Linux, PC, and Mac.
Okay.
They're making it.
I used to love the heck out of Unreal Tournament. That was my thing. That was like my shooter. Back during the days when the battle was between Unreal and Quake.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unreal Tournament was the one. Like I couldn't touch Quake. Unreal Tournament was the one I backed. That was mine.
Yeah,
so cool.
So much fun. So much fun playing with that back in the day. They're making it now, and they are really making it with fans. There is, if you go to the Unreal website right now, unrealengine.com, there is a page that you can go to, and you can actually sign up to be a participant in the making of this game. What that means now, I don't really know, but they're doing some really weird things. Like they're pretty much giving away the Unreal Engine to people that want to make games. It's super cheap to basically get all this stuff, and then they take a cut of your game, and they're really changing the way that they're doing business, which totally makes sense because, well, the way of engines are changing. There isn't just like the Unreal Engine and what were the other ones that were out at that time? Like there was Source. There was a couple other ones. There was all the.
I never paid attention to that.
All the id engines were there as well. But you're paying big money for all of those. Now there's some really great ones that are free, so it totally makes sense. They're kind of going that way as well. So
cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah, Unreal Tournament. You can even work on it, Joe. You could make your own.
Guess.
You could make an item. You could have that one item, like a billboard.
I'm gonna make a chair.
You could have you like the worst stuff billboard and sell it to people in the game and make some money, some hard cash money. That'd be great.
I'll do that.
You look too excited. I don't know if I can.
I just can't imagine what you're making in a game like that. Like I just remember Unreal Tournament was just that's where I learned how to be a sniper. You know, that was. Yeah, I remember the one map with the two towers on either side,
right.
And big open area in the middle is like kind of like in space or some stuff, and like you'd run up to the top and switch to the sniper. Right.
Yeah. I think what they're doing is
that's where I learned all that stuff.
Right, and I think what one of the things they want to do is they want to really foster the mod community because that's kind of died these days. There really isn't so many mods for games. So what they want to do is give people the tools to add different game modes and other things and make it something that you can sell. So you can make this really great
cool.
desktop tower defense clone in this game that is fun to play, and then sell the mod to people for $5, and Epic will get a cut off the top. So we'll see. We'll see if it works. If nothing else, I'm just really happy to see Unreal back because that was a lot of fun to play way back in the day. All right, man. I think that's going to do it for news. That was a lot of news to cover. We talked an hour about stuff. So why don't we talk about some fun things? Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been playing lately on your devices?
Playing Mario Kart 8.
Nice. How's the Crazy 8? You can't tell me now because you're under NDA. I'm sorry.
You know, it's weird. The embargo for this one's really weird because they, if you haven't noticed, on the Wii U, they have already opened the Mario Kart 8 community.
Oh, okay.
And you can already go there and see what stuff are doing. I think this is the first time, to my knowledge, that Nintendo has done this. Usually, if you have a game in advance of a release date and you try to post something to Miiverse, you get an error message that the server's not available because they haven't flipped the switch that turns on the Miiverse community.
Sure.
But for Kart, they did, and they straight up encouraged folks who have it in for review, as I do, to go ahead, post to Miiverse.
Wow.
And post your screenshots and post your stuff. So, like, if you're allowed to do that, like, what's left to embargo, you know? And if you look, there's anytime I'm talking to somebody about this game, or I see somebody talking about it, and I'm like, oh.
Your video just froze on the exact perfect frame, Joe. I think we might have actually lost you. It was such an epic pose that you froze so completely, and we did lose him. Oh, that is awesome. We're trying to reconnect to Joe Fourhman right now. I wish I could have saved that screenshot because that was great. Oh, we're back. We got you back.
Oh, did you lose me again?
Yeah. You paused with your mouth open, making this really great face, and then you disappeared. And now I just see your little screenshot thingy, your little alien head thing.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
Bizarre. So what were you saying?
Put that back.
What were you saying about 30 seconds ago? Because I think that's when you dropped.
Oh, did I? Oh, just that, like, a lot of the stuff that maybe we didn't know about Mario Kart 8 beforehand, like, it's already out there because Nintendo seems to be okay with this. I mean, like, anytime that I see somebody talking about Mario Kart and, like, maybe you don't know about what's on the gamepad, I'm like, well, should I tell them? And then I realized that IGN already said it like a week ago. Like, it's like the secrets are already out. Like, the character list is already out. The track list is already out.
It's really weird. That's very un-Nintendo.
Yeah, it's very open, and like I said, you can go to the Mario Kart 8 community right now and see what everybody's doing. See all the stamps, see a whole bunch of screenshots. You can't watch video clips yet.
Oh, okay,
that's the one thing that hasn't been turned on yet.
Those servers are not running right now, or
yeah,
whatever.
Well, and they've been haven't been very clear about that because we've known that you could make highlight reels in Mario Kart 8 for like forever and watch them in Miiverse.
Right,
they said that like ages ago, but I think only recently they mentioned about you can post them to YouTube as well. And so now the question is, like, are the ones that you can watch in Miiverse, are those just embedded YouTube clips? Because, like, right now I've made many highlight reels in Mario Kart 8 and posted them to Miiverse, and the people on Miiverse only see a screenshot. Me on Miiverse, I only see a screenshot. Like, there is no running video on Miiverse right now. So I don't know if that's something that's going to be turned on or if it's something that you have to have posted to YouTube to get it to play the video in Miiverse. I don't know. We don't really know that angle on it yet. I mean, but at some point you'll be able to do that. But still, right now you can see the stamps and the post and the posts that people are doing and screenshots.
So I'll ask you something, and if you can't say,
okay,
just say I can't say. Is there a battle mode in this game?
I believe that has already been revealed, and there is.
I've been staying away from all spoilers, so I haven't been reading any articles. Is it big? Is it a big part of the battle mode?
It's
something
not
about.
It's not what you want.
Oh, okay.
It's just the regular tracks.
Yeah, that's what Steven was saying yesterday, but I just wanted to know if that is in fact true.
I believe they revealed that in that half-hour direct that they did.
Oh, okay.
I think, or they revealed it somewhere along the line, because when I heard that, my thought was that it would be like takedown mode and like Burnout.
Right.
It's not. like you'd think that's what it would be, where all the carts are kind of going around and banging each other around, but it's not. They essentially just have the regular old battle mode with the balloons on your butt, but only in the tracks, which means that it's like tough to find people to hit.
Oh,
like even
so
worse.
It's the whole track. They don't even put like artificial walls up to keep you in one area.
I've only done it a couple times, and I haven't really noticed any artificial walls.
Oh, that's too bad.
I did one of the Mario Castle ones, and it's like the whole stupid track. So like I'm going around, and like maybe I'll see the opponents if they're going in the opposite direction.
Sure. Because that's always been my favorite part of Mario Kart. After just racing, playing like an hour of battle mode with buddies over, doing four screens, 4-player split screen and stuff. So I was hoping that they would do a really big version of battle mode, but I guess it's not super popular, so I don't think they'd want to spend any cycles in development doing that, when they could just say, here, race on the tracks, you have balloons on your butt, go have fun.
Yeah. I don't. I've seen some people saying that, well, maybe they'll do some actual battle mode stuff as DLC, but they've been very quiet on that front. So, what I've done in battle mode has just been kind of zooming around the regular track and maybe scoring a couple hits on somebody on the enemy team. It's not the big arena stuff that has been in previous games.
That's too bad. And I guess what this has shown me is that I should not like hide from spoilers if I'm just going to have someone on the show and ask him the question directly anyway. I could have read about this weeks ago and been disappointed weeks ago.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it's a great game. I was looking at my clock. I already have like, I think 19 hours in on it.
Oh, so jealous.
That's like, geez, like there's been, games that I've, played to completion in 12 and been done with, and here's I'm playing Mario Kart for 19 hours.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. Well, besides making us all jealous right now that you're playing Mario Kart, what else you been playing?
Deception 4 Blood Ties, which is a PlayStation 3 and Vita release. And I like the Deception games. Okay. I've always liked those. They did like 3 of them on the PlayStation 1 and 1 of them on the PlayStation 2, and now they've got this one for the PlayStation 3 and Vita. So I like them. I know a lot of.
Oh, did we lose you again? Oh, we lost Joe again. Sorry, we're having network issues here for some reason. Oh no, you're back. Oh, he's back.
Man, I keep losing you. Where'd you lose me?
Now you're about 30 seconds behind. Are you there?
I am there.
Okay,
I'm here.
Cool. So you caught up.
All right, good.
So you're talking about Deception. So this one just came out not too long ago.
I think either end of March, beginning of April, something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I thought this was one of the ones that was on the Golden Week sale, but no, this is a new game that just came out.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Like, I don't think anybody knew they were making a Deception game, and then all of a sudden in February they're like, "Yeah, we're making another Deception game, and it's out next month."
Interesting. So you're enjoying it?
Yeah, I like it. But I like this whole series. I like the whole deal of setting up traps and luring people into them and swinging them from one trap to the next and murdering them, I suppose.
I've always been intrigued by it, but I've never played a Deception game. Maybe I'm going to look for some people that are live streaming it or post some video on YouTube or something and see if that is something that I really want to get into, because it's always kind of it's always intrigued me. I got a little taste of Deception when I played Disney Infinity and setting up all the tracks in Monsters University, and I was just like, oh, this would be great. This I guess this is what Deception would be like. And then a new one comes out. It's like, oh, maybe this is just encouraging me to go out and pick up this game so I can create many traps to kill people.
I like it a lot. The big drag with this one is that the story mode is divided into like 12 chapters, and there's like no saving inside the chapters.
Oh. Ugh.
Now, like on the Vita, like whatever, I'll just like pause the game for a day.
Yeah.
Until I can get back to it again, you know. But that's just like, it's a weird. I don't know what they were thinking, but there's like these chapters where you've got clearly separated waves of enemies, like with little stupid cutscenes between them, and you can't save during those stupid cutscenes.
Oh, wow.
I don't get it, but
that's annoying.
Yeah, that's a huge drag.
Especially like you said, for a game that's on the Vita, you think they'd have even more save things just for people that want to save and turn their system off or whatever.
It is cool that you can transfer your save to the cloud and pick it up again on the PlayStation 3.
Nice.
Although I don't think it's a cross-buy title, so that would mean you'd have to buy the game twice.
Yeah.
And that seems rather unlikely for a niche title like this. But, you know, who knows? That's what I've been playing.
Interesting. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. I've been playing some interesting things. I've been playing a lot of my PS4 and some Vita and some 3DS actually. I picked up Mario Golf World Tour. I was going to say Mario Kart, and I was like, no, that's Joe that's been playing Mario Kart. I've been playing Mario Golf World Tour.
Right.
I picked it up because I love Camelot sports games. I love all the Mario Golf games, and I thought, hey, this would be something I'd always want on my system. So you would think that because of that I would have bought it digitally, but no, because I realized that now I have multiple 3DSs in my house, and my kids will probably want to play this, and I don't want to have to buy the game multiple times because of Nintendo's stupid way of activating consoles and game sharing, or no game sharing. So I ended up picking it up on disc or on cartridge, as much as I didn't want to. But I don't know, I'm enjoying it. I've played through a couple different courses. Haven't played too much of it, but I did the stupid thing of buying the DLC on day one, even though I knew I wasn't going to be playing this like exclusively, just to see what it was, because this is the first time Nintendo's done a season pass, and I know people were really pissed off. It's like, Nintendo, they're the last pure game manufacturer. It's like, well,
go away.
I mean, it's awesome that they're doing DLC now, and it's even more intriguing to me that they would do a season pass, just because they came out not too long ago and said we would never do DLC, and then they did DLC, and they're like, but we're never gonna ship a game with stuff that has DLC on day one, except Fire Emblem did, and now Mario Golf did. It's just like,
right. And you know, Mario Golf to me, I think, is a great title to experiment like this for them, because golf is so divisive. Like, either you like golf or you don't. And so here's a chance that, like, if you're maybe not really sure you want Mario Golf, hey, wait, look how much cheaper it is. It's $30, and it's still a massive game for $30.
Yeah, exactly.
American prices. It's still a ton of games to it. And so if you really like it, all right, chip in another $15 for another, you know, almost doubling your game experience. I think that's a great deal. The real fans are going to get so much more content than they would have, and the people who are just like, all right, I'll try it, but I don't know if I'm going to like it, they can bite at a much lesser.
Yeah, they get a game on a discount, which is a really great thing, and that's exactly why I picked it up. It was $35 here because Canada, all of our games are $5 or $10 more expensive, which is ridiculous. But anyway, picked it up, played it, liked it, downloaded the DLC. When you buy the season pass, you get access to Golden Mario as a special character that you can use. Everybody's going to get him after, but you get it first. And his superpower is he can't use any special items. So if you play certain game modes, you can turn on like super shots and all the crazy power blocks and things like that. But he can't use any of those. Instead, when he hits the ball, it just like spews coins out of it. Just like if you're playing, Mario 3D Land with the coin block. So when you moved, you have all the coins that would pop out. The same thing happens, but it comes out of your golf ball, and then you use those coins to buy your upgrades and things like that. And you pause with another great look on your face. This is going to be awesome for screenshots later, Joe. Thank you for that. We lost them. But you're then going to be able to use those coins to buy your upgrades, buy your buy all the different things that you want to buy in the clubhouse, and do it that way. So I thought, hey, if I'm going to get this anyway, potentially I'll pay the money now, and I'll play through the bulk of the game with this Gold Mario and get a whole bucket full of coins that I can buy all my items with. And so I've been playing with that, and it's actually really fun. Some of the courses look really kind of low resy. Like there's a lot of jaggies and stuff, which
it's a 3DS game.
Yeah, but I've played many 3DS games recently, and I didn't notice it as I never actually looked at the screen. So I guess that's where I'm looking at the screen in this one, I guess. No, it's obviously not it. But it just looks really low res for some reason. I'm not really sure why that is. But it's so much so that it's bugging me a little bit. So I'm going to try to get over that and play through some more. I haven't done any online stuff yet, but I've been enjoying what I've been playing so far. So if you're looking for another fun title to play on your 3DS and you like golf, or if you don't like golf but like arcadey golf games like Hot Shots, this would be one for you to check out. And it is only $30, like you said, Joe. So it's a nice cheap game to pick up and play on your Nintendo handheld.
Yeah, cheap in the 3DS realm of prices.
Right, exactly. Not iOS cheap, but
no,
but it's a pretty decent price for a Nintendo title. I've also been playing a fair bit of Child of Light on the PlayStation 4. That is the Ubisoft RPG that uses the Ubi art engine, so looks like it's hand drawn and it moves, and it's just so damn beautiful. It has this really interesting dialogue system where everything is given to you in rhyming, rhyming couplets, just like you're in like the Elizabethan era and you're watching a Shakespeare play, which I thought was just like, oh, this is really great. And then I think I'm on chapter 6. I'm just really annoyed with it. So I'm skipping all of the text, which is really terrible. I feel really bad because people worked really hard to rhyme all this stuff. But it's like, oh, this takes forever because it just does one line and then pauses and then does another line and then pauses, does another line. It's just like,
why do developers do that?
Skip. Yeah, just,
I mean, I am all for dialogue. I will read it, but like, when you overwrite something and then have it be really slow to reveal on screen, oh, that's killer. It
is. It really, really is. So I've been playing and enjoying that. It is really a lot of fun. It's available on pretty much anything now, any of the current gen consoles, Wii U, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. So, and it's cheap too. I think it was $15 or something.
Yeah.
And it's a good game. People are saying it's about 12 to 14 hours. So it's not like it's a 2-hour $15 game, which there's been a lot of those recently. This is a pretty meaty title, and it's a really good RPG, and it has kind of like a active time battle, kind of like Final Fantasy style, with a really cool system where you can interrupt people while they're casting, and you have a party system, so the people that are with you in your party, you can switch them in and out as you want without taking up a turn. So you can do like a crazy damage with your magic user, then switch to your big beefy warrior type person and do more damage after that. Really, really interesting system. I'm really digging it. I'm about halfway through, I think, so I still got a little bit more to play on that, but I'm really digging it. The reason why I'm not playing it is I'm playing another game, which I don't really dig so much, but I'm trying to get the stupid platinum trophy because I'm one of those idiots that does that sometimes. And I've been playing Amazing Spider-Man 2 on my PS4 by Beanox.
It would have been great if that was a good game.
It would have been. It would have been. I loved Amazing Spider-Man 1, the first game.
I liked it a lot.
I even picked it up on the Wii U because it came with all the DLC baked in, and it was just like, this is awesome. I'm going to play this again. This is great. It was fun. I assumed the sequel would be just as fun with more. Unfortunately, it looks like they quickly prototyped a game and then were forced to ship it. There's so many problems with this game. Talking with some people on Twitter that kind of know the inside scoop, they were really rushed to get this game out. They had a team roughly half of what the old development team is, so less people to do a bigger game in less time, and it's definitely showing.
That's a shame.
And to top it all off, it was its lead SKU. So the lead version of the game was the Xbox 360, and then they just did ports for all the other versions. So the PS4 version is essentially the same as the Xbox 360, with just some models and some textures redone. So it looks very last gen, and it makes me wonder why people would pay an extra $10 to play this on the current gen than playing it on like the last gen console. Unfortunately,
so that you can share screenshots.
Yeah, exactly. Fortunately, I didn't pay for it, so I don't feel so bad that I did that I spent $60 on it. So that is a really good thing. I'll be returning it shortly after I get my my platinum. So it does some really weird things. One of the trophies, I talked about this a little bit on the Nintendo Pulse, but one of the trophies requires you to level up every single suit. So in this game, there's unlockable suits. You get them by raiding Russian hideouts in the game, or completing different things. Like there's this arcade beat 'em up in Stan Lee's comic shop.
So just like how Spidey gets new costumes in the comics, then by stealing them from Russians.
Yeah, exactly. Either aliens or Russians is how he gets them. But it's really bizarre. So you unlock suits. I think there's like 14 of them. I'm just throwing that number out. I think that's pretty close to what it is. Maybe it's 12. And I didn't realize that this trophy existed when I first started playing through the game. So by the end of the game, when I beat it, I had only leveled up 2 of my suits to max. Each of the suits has 8 levels, and it takes, from what I found from leveling them up, if you're grinding it, getting the most experience that you can, it still takes 45 minutes of gameplay. Boring, grindy, want to fall asleep or rip out my hair or do both gameplay. So I had to basically level up 10 suits that way at about 45 minutes a piece. So
nice.
You can do the math on how much of my life I wasted just to get one gold trophy, so that I could then start the game over again on hard to get the last trophy to then pop the platinum. So I'm
going to go into your PlayStation 4 feed and like every single one of these Spider-Man posts.
It's just so bad, man. I mean, and to top it off, the worst part about this is when I first got the game, I popped it in and I started the live stream immediately, and I streamed it for about 3.5 hours. And while I was doing it, I had I think the most I had was about almost 30 people were watching me. So not huge, but some really pretty decent numbers because it's a newer game. And everybody asked me what I thought about it. And I said, oh, it's great. I mean, it's like the other Spider-Man games that have come out. The swing mechanic's been redone.
You were selling it.
They have a great battle system. It feels like Arkham. If I'm playing like Arkham Asylum, it's really great. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a Spider-Man fan, so take it with a grain of salt, but I'm really digging it. Streamed for 3.5 hours, spouting stuff like that out. And then started playing it the next day, and literally it was probably about a half hour. I grew tired of the game, so 4 hours in, so I streamed for 3.5 hours and was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then a half hour later, I'm just like, ugh, there's so many bugs. And then sure enough, I played it for a lot longer to get the rest of the trophies. So I feel really bad if anybody went out and actually spent their $60 to buy this, because I was enjoying myself so much, because I actually was enjoying myself. But that quickly went away when it has this new system of morality. So if you save people on the random events, you get stuff on the good side of that morality meter. The more morality points you have, the higher your level of good is, whatever the stupid thing they're calling it. You actually get bonuses. So you get, your suit has stats. Each of the suits has 3 different stats. They're not all the same. So say you're using a suit and it gets extra damage, extra experience, and extra something else. If you have your morality meter up to level 3, you get bonuses to that. So it's an even better suit. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a neat thing. But when you get further in the game and they unlock more and more bad guy types, and more of these random things pop up, that's when it starts becoming annoying, because if you don't go and complete one of these random events, after a certain set time, it will actually turn red and start pulsating. And if you don't see that on the map, it will disappear, and then you're taken down because
for ignoring it.
Yeah, for not being Spidey and not doing the good things. By the
That's
time
a good idea.
it was terrible. By the time I beat the game, I was in -3, so I had the worst morality as possible because I was just trying to get through this game, and that causes like big spider mechs to come after you and ships that shoot you out of the air, and it's just like, this is no fun. Did anybody actually play this game? And then I tweeted after beating the game, oh wow, I'm watching the credits for Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I'm really amazed that this game wasn't actually done by two guys in their basement, because I was really pissed off about the whole thing. So I was like kind of snarky on Twitter, and then I had to go back in and get all my trophies. So I liked it, hated it, decided to grin and bear it, and then decided to grind to get my stupid trophies because I'm an idiot apparently.
Yeah, you did it. Good job, buddy. Good job.
So Amazing Spider-Man 2, if you're gonna play it, wait for a sale. Wait for it to be in the used bargain bin somewhere.
Big sale.
And don't worry about getting it on next gen because it doesn't really look that great at the end of the day. And it's got so many load times. Like if you're moving a game over from PlayStation 3 to PS4, the least you can do for the people that you're charging $10 more is get rid of the damn load times. Like it's there's many worse parts, but the worst part is when you're doing certain things and you fail. Like you're one of the random quests is to save someone from a car. I've never failed those, but I'm just going to use it because it's an easy example. If you fail it, you don't get a choice or a chance to redo it. It just fails you back to the level, but it takes 45 minutes to load the world back in. So not only are you pissed off that you failed, usually through no fault of your own because some weird bug or something happened, and then you have to wait 45 seconds to play the game again, and then you're taking a morality hit because you didn't do it right the first time. And there's an arcade game in Stan Lee's comic book shop, and that is how you unlock one of the suits. You do like these battle arena type things. If you complete one, it says, congratulations, do you want to do the next level? You hit yes, you go to the next level. That makes total sense. If you fail, it boots you back to the world, and it takes 45 seconds to load. It's like, why do you hate people that can't play your game well? Like, why do you hate them? Did they kick a puppy? Like you had a new puppy and they came and kicked it?
It's like Dark Souls, but with Spider-Man.
It totally is. I know what Dark Souls people feel now, and I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. So anyway, that's my experience with Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, it's fun, but it's definitely not a $60 game in my books. It's something that if I paid money for it, I would have felt really bad about it.
This will be great on PlayStation Plus in about 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a good sale. They'll do like the $20 sale that they've been doing. $20, sure, if you can live with the bugs and the one of the videos that shows like when you do one of the random events is it actually puts a camera inside the police cargo van that they're loading all these criminals into. But there's no checking on other like clipping on that vehicle. So sometimes a taxi will just drive right through it while your camera's inside of it. It's just like, really? That happens in a game that shipped? Wow.
Those poor dev team.
I feel really bad for them because that they don't like the fact that this game is out in the world. Like
they are ashamed and sad.
No one likes to make a bad game. Like no one comes out and says, I want to make a crappy game that pisses people off. So they're really angry about it, but man, like I'm the biggest Spider-Man fanboy from as long as I can remember. That was my go-to comic. I read all the Spider-Man stuff. I can put up with a lot of crap when it comes to Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire dancing in the streets to show tunes. I was like, yeah, it's not that bad. I was that guy. This game made me kind of say, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to buy another Spider-Man game. And I'm glad I didn't buy this one. So, yeah. Yeah, that's Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PS4 in epic rant form. Yeah. All right, Joe. Your audio is doing a lot better now that your video is not on, so we'll leave that off. Okay. I can actually hear you now, which is really great. Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show. This was a really good one.
Had a good time. Always happy to do it.
Awesome. So if people weren't listening, if they were doing something else at the start of the show, why don't you tell people where they can find
cooking an omelet or something?
Exactly. How can they find more of Joe Fourhman?
Every week we do a show called You Like the Worst Stuff, which is in iTunes and also at our home site, ggsgamer.com, a video game news, reviews, and preview site. So yeah, that's You Like the Worst Stuff. Check us out and follow us on Twitter. And yeah, I mean, I talk to Lloyd like 16 times a day. So really just follow Lloyd on Twitter too, and you'll run into me as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I highly recommend that you guys go check out You Like the Worst Stuff. It's one of the shows that I listen to immediately if it comes in my RSS feed, because it makes me laugh every week. So do check that one out. It's a good show. So do check it out, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, guys, that's going to about do it for this episode of the DeREZD podcast. Will be back next week, provided he gets rid of his unwanted house guests and the people that are staying over at his house. So hopefully, maybe you've made some cricket muffins or cricket cookies. And if you didn't, Will, I could show you a video that I watched today where people made that, and I kind of want to barf right now thinking back to that. But we do love that you guys listen to the show, so head on over to vgpodcast.com. You can click leave us a voicemail to do just that. Email us directly at vgpodcasts@gmail.com, or call our voicemail line if clicking a button on a website is too newfangled for you. You want to pick up your old rotary dial. You can call area code 505 VG Podcasts and leave us a voicemail, which we will play in a future episode of the podcast. So, Joe, again, thanks for joining me.
You're quite welcome.
And we will talk to all you guys in about a week's time on the DeREZD podcast. Have a great one, everybody.